Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad to have a good turnout this afternoon and for this special meeting. And we're going to call the Atascosa County Commissioners Court workshop to order. It's a requirement that we have to do to post to have a quorum. And now we'll have a prayer and pledge of allegiance like we do at every meeting. Commissioner Bowen, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for each county that's represented here this afternoon. We ask you to be with this workshop that we're in. And Father, just help us come up with some solutions and ideas and things to help this crisis that we're in with this border situation. And I just ask you to be with each law enforcement and their families and support them and take care of them and protect them. Be with the county officials as well. And most importantly, Father, all of our citizens that are concerned about what's going on, as we are. So, Father, I just ask you to look after, guide, protect them, and most importantly, that we get the ear of the people in Austin and above by doing these things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. It's a true honor to be here this afternoon, but not under these circumstances. We appreciate everybody's attendance, and we know we're being broadcasted live on YouTube. Is that correct, Craig? Yeah. And I need to recognize first our officials that we have here. We've got several counties. If you please stand and you represent yourself. LaSalle County, Lala Martinez, Ivo County, McMullen County, Kinney County, Zavala County, Karnes County, and Dimmitt County. Is there any other county judges I've left off? Thank you very much. Okay, and now the sheriffs, if y'all please stand. Recognition for all y'all, please, including you. We appreciate everything that we have and all everywhere. I believe also we have some representatives from Pete Flores' office and from Tracy King's office, and we appreciate them very much. To move forward, going forward, looking at this thing, how this was initiated, most of us were at conference last week when all this Title 42 was going away. And we talked about what we can do and how we can do it and how we can get the awareness out and get the people involved and let them understand what your rights are and understand how we can protect our properties, at the same time be aware of the immigrants that we're going to be charged with. Although some of y'all already had these instances, we know that it's a critical situation and we want to be there to support you. We also want to praise Texas and praise the DPS and the National Guard and all of our state agencies that have come forward to help, because it doesn't look like the feds are doing what they should, in our opinion. The judges have come together from Atascosa, Wilson, Karnes, McMullen, Frio, Live Oak, Medina, LaSalle, Dimmitt, Kinney. All these county judges all got together and we decided to form a consortium that we could hear the bodies of people to get to the state and let them understand where we're coming from, and then hopefully progress that on to the federal level. It's a big undertaking for us. If you can only imagine 10 county judges and all of us have our independence at the same level, at the same time, we all have the same heart that what we need to move forward with and how we need to do it together. And it's a great honor to work with these people. And I want to praise the Commissioners Court. They have gone above and beyond to help and find every way we can to support our sheriff and our other departments and constables and help them with everything we can. These guys they're tireless on some of this stuff. What y'all don't see we do behind the scenes on the administrative side, it's a lot tougher than you think, but we try hard to get the word out and get it across. We're going to cover Title 42, Title 8, the pathway to the rules that we're having to follow nowadays, and we're going to go up with the presentation now, and then we're going to have several speakers. They promise not to be too long, but they hopefully be informative. But we want you to understand where we come with this. If you're going to see that under Title 42, the individuals would normally be allowed to enter the United States, could be denied the entry to prevent spread of common disease. Well, Title 42 goes away, and the Trump administration issued that at that point. And then in April of 22, the Biden administration announced it would be ending the policy. When Title 42 was lifted, we have to deal with it after May the 11th and return to using Title 8, which is allowing immigration authorities to process and remove individuals who arrive at the U.S. border unlawfully. That's a whole different ballgame than Title 42. Under Title 8, the migrants who are deported are banned from entering the United States for at least 5 years, and if they re-enter the U.S. unlawfully, they could face charges and jail time. These are the situations we're dealing with, and I know there's a lot more versed people over here in the jury box that are going to be able to answer a lot of questions and make their presentation, but this is a big undertaking, a lot bigger than y'all believe. The state of Texas is bleeding money. I know that the bills that are out there is $4.6 billion for this year, just out of the state coffers. That doesn't count our coffers and what we're doing. I know Judge Schuster and I have talked several times in Kinney County. They're bleeding. They're 3,400 total people, and I mean it's just a mess for everybody. But from that point forward, I want to be able to understand that we've gone out and we've talked to corporate sponsors. I personally have rounded up, I think, around $72,000 in food and housing and donations, bill contributions, and other resources. These local oil field companies have committed to this. I want to praise them. They're paying sales tax, they're paying all kinds of taxes on all their production and everything, and they're still willing to give what they can to help these communities. Totally proud of them. I went to several of them, and then they had others call me and say, hey, what can we do? What do y'all need? Nobody ever batted an eye or turned me down, not one. And to me, that's working together. I sat down with the auditor. She's fantastic. We're blessed to have a great auditor. We have found some more money for the sheriff for overtime. So we want to commit to you some found funds for overtime for what you need. We know you're bumping the red mark now, but we want to get there. The state is also going to kick in with it also through that. Please understand, I'm not the answer. We were just fortunate enough we're the largest county, and we all come together here, and these are the people that I feel sorry for. These are the people I sweat, not counting ourselves. We really don't have it near as bad as some of our southern counties. And at this time, I'd like for Judge Schuster to come up and say a couple of words, and then we've got 3 others before we have a DPS presentation.
He told me I had to be pretty short. Well, that's all right. The short end of it's a bunch of bullshit. So that's my short version of it.
That's pretty cool.
We're the Epic Center. Everybody knows that, obviously, by now in Kinney County. I was on the border about 3.5 hours this morning. The county attorney was with the chief deputy, and I was with the sheriff. In Kinney County, we have about 16, 17 miles of border, and we have no port of entry or anything like that. Have a single landowner that owns that whole stretch. So dealing with him and cooperating with him and trying to do things as gently as we can. Our big fear is as the fence gets built and the barriers get put up and DPS keeps working and so forth, they're going to funnel into us because they're going to get frustrated. There's a group, they're estimating about 20,000 right now headed up from Brownsville to Eagle Pass. And so we're trying to get ready, prepared for that. Work to, you prep for the worst and hope for the best kind of deal, and that's what we're in. I commend our little sheriff's department. We have 6 deputies. If it wasn't for OLS, and I commend Galveston constables for coming up. The Galveston has been sending constables for almost 2 years now. They rotate on a week basis, 2 constables to help with us and stuff. So it's pretty wicked. My house is 25 miles from the river. County attorney lives about 18 miles from the river, but they've been to our houses and stuff. The destruction is just unbelievable, and most of y'all have realized that, and they've gotten a piece of that. Our highway traffic has really ramped up since Title 42 went away. Benton Court can comment on that part of it as well. But just today, I believe we've had 5 bailouts in our county before we got to lunch. And folks, it's we have a volunteer fire department. We have 1 EMT and 1 paramedic on duty. So it is really straining our residents of our community that are paying taxes for and we can't provide for them sometimes. We make it work. I commend my EMS director and so forth, but I commend our sheriff. He's a retired Border Patrol, so he knows a lot of that other side of that table that I don't have a clue on. So keep us in your prayers. We'll keep y'all in your prayer. If you need, we're doing all we can to try to stop them before they even make it this far. Met with Mr. Banks this morning. The county attorney might touch on this a little bit. He's not on the agenda, but he got voluntold to get in the pickup while ago. But Border Czar Banks, most of y'all have heard of him probably by now. He was appointed by Governor Abbott a couple months ago. He's like wedged between Governor Abbott and the DPS. Visited with him this morning down on the river. Florida has committed 800 guardsmen coming this way and 300 law enforcement coming this way. 23 other states have signed on and committed that they would send help as well down here to us to try to help curtail this. I think we're kind of in the eye of the storm right now. We talked about, we feel like the big waves are coming. There's been estimated 700,000 to 1 million still down in the lower levels of Mexico headed this way. So hang in there. We're going to keep fighting a good fight, and call your reps, call your senators, write letters. I'm not the type of person, I wasn't raised where I'm going to throw a chair through a glass door or anything like that, but I'm going to keep knocking on your door and keep some pressure on you and things like that. And that's all we can simply ask of y'all to do as well. Commend your commissioners and your judge for putting this together. Like I said, we were all in Lubbock last week, everybody over there, and we got to talking. Judge Koo said, hey, we got to do something, and we want y'all to come and be a part of it. So I appreciate that and commend what you got going on here. But man, think and pray for these law enforcement guys and our first responders, because it is trying on all of us. Tough deal. But think we're gonna have Q&A afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'll probably quit right there. I'll stick around for a little bit if you need to visit with me or something. I've been in office 100 and something days. But, let me tell you, been drinking from a fire hydrant. Every now and then the fire truck comes by. But I commend our county attorney. He's in his first term, his third year. Our county sheriff's in his second term. My commissioner's court is very seasoned and very supportive of everything. But it's a very frustrating and gut wrenching. It's 24/7 for us and for y'all. And we're going to do everything we can to keep them over there and work our best to keep them out of your communities. And we appreciate all your support and all your help.
Now we're going to have his county attorney, Mr. Brent Smith, come forward and visit. Brent is going to be, how long have you been in office? 2.5 years? Oh, congratulations. He's gone through his own, and he's got a tear to tell everybody about, but we and I met several months ago at the Republican convention and really enjoyed conversation with him. You're up.
I'll keep it short. With Operation Lone Star, it's, been a success for our landowners, trying to give them some form of justice for the crimes occurring on the properties. I think we just surpassed 5,000 arrests and prosecutions in just Kenny County alone for trespassing. And we don't even have that many people in the county. So that's crazy. But I think it's important to note in Brownsville, not too long ago, there was something that's changed, I think. Governor Abbott and the border czar, Mr. Banks, didn't allow them to come into the state of Texas. And that created a message that all the other ones that hadn't come across, they stopped. They decided to go somewhere else where they could get across. And I believe the amount of resources, once they come across the border, and I can attest being from Kenny County, once they cross that river and come into the state of Texas and get farther enough in, the amount of resources and law enforcement that it takes to try to contend with that is astronomical. What we need to do is prevent them and not want to get the message out there that they're not coming into the state of Texas illegally. And I believe one of the things we should do as counties is support our governor in that policy he started to enact in Brownsville, because it's starting to have a ripple effect in other places. If they know they can't come into the state, they will go to somewhere else. I don't want them to come into the United States at all, but I'd rather them go to Arizona or California than Texas. And if you have any questions for us, we'll be around during the question and answer. But that's all I got to say. Thank you.
And next, we're going to have Bubba Shelton. Bubba's been the McMullen County Sheriff for quite a while, and he, former game warden, understands it. His presentation is a little longer. He's going to go into depth about what he's had to deal with down there and what they're looking for in the future. Again, we got DPS following this, and then we'll have questions and answers. Then after it's over, there'll be people around to gather up with if you need to. Sheriff? Yeah, sure. Sure. Okay.
I've got an outside voice. I don't. All right. My name's Emmett Shelton, and I'm Sheriff McMullen County, and I put together a PowerPoint here. I'm sorry. Back it up, please. We collect stats all the time, and we've done this since like 2014. And what we've done is, this isn't working.
He's coming.
What we've done is compared the 2017 stats, or 2017 to 2020 to 21 and 22. And let's just leave that up there for right now. All right. What we've got here, I'm going to step out front. Everybody hear me? All right. 2017 to 2020, these are our stats in different categories. I, contain, escape, pursuit, vehicle recovery, one risk, McMullen County, misdemeanor cases, misdemeanor arrest, felony cases, felony arrest, bailouts and rescues. All right, total down here, this is where the telling story is. In 4 years, we've trained 169, 187 escapes, we had 57 pursuits, 50 vehicles recovered, come over to felony cases, we had 82 felony cases in 4 years, and 83 felony arrests in 4 years. 21, 22, 728 detained, for 608 people in my home county. Then, 1,005 escapes, 166 pursuits, 152 vehicles recovered, stolen vehicles. Of these stolen vehicles, 152, 90% of them were your King Range, F-250, your Dodge, Longhorn, 35 minutes, 25 minutes, and your TNCs and others. Rough estimate on that, on the conservative side, $10,944,000 paid out in insurance company, 2 years, in McMullen County. Okay, so we go on to, let's go on here to the rest of the board. Felony cases, 2 felony cases in McMullen County. And 137 arrests. For some of them, they were carrying more than one person, so we filed 21 charges. This is, thank you. This is unsustainable. You know, McMullen County, yeah, we're doing pretty good. But our landowners, this doesn't show the hit to our landowners. Our landowners' fences are getting run through them. And when you have a high-powered, brand-new vehicle, some of these vehicles we're getting have less than 700 miles on them. When you get a brand-new vehicle like that, you can run through a bunch of fences before that thing quits. And so we're not looking at one fence damage or one gate. We're looking at 10 or 20 fences that are run through. And anyway, the rest of this little PowerPoint, I'll talk about it afterward. It has the pictures and everything. If you just click on it, it'll start.
No. Okay.
Should. There we go.
Oh, you need to click it the other way.
There.
Yeah,
That
you
would-
go forward. Now, there you go. That should, there we go. It's going.
All right, who's paying for our open border policies? These are just pictures of the ends of pursuits that we've had. Some of these gates cost a lot of money. And at what cost? What real cost? This was on Highway 16 south of Tilden. That white vehicle, there was a mother, a grandmother, and 3 kids under the age of 5 in that car. And this is how we find it when we go out in the brush looking for them. A lot of these vehicles are not much left to them. And they pull the back seat out of these things. Brush piles work real good for stopping vehicles. They'll pull the back seat out of it, and this is what it looks like. So, like Judge Schuster said, and bless his heart, you have been drinking from a fire hose. You got a tremendous first 100 days. They're getting run over compared to us, and we've got a lot of activity. We've got men on the ground right now. They'll be on the ground tonight. And the thing is that I think one of the reasons that this is happening, and it continues to happen, and it continues to get worse, is this isn't an issue to the people up north. They don't see it. This pain is not living on their front doorstep. It is on ours. And the only way to bring it to them is to get our voices together, go talk to your representatives, go talk to your legislators, talk to your senators, whichever side of the aisle they sit on, and bring this knowledge to them so that it becomes their issue. It starts happening to them in their front yards. Because even as far north or as close as San Antonio, they don't realize that what's going on down here, and because they don't, it's not an issue to them. Therefore, it's not important to them. But trust me, this is a movie that's coming to their theaters soon, if it doesn't stop here. So, and the other thing is, instead of calling your senator, your representative, go see them. Nothing speaks louder than a person who's sitting across the table from you, looking you in the eye, telling you something, instead of being on the phone. If you take the time to go see them, actions speak louder than words. Get together and go see them. Make your voices heard. That's the only way we're going to get any help on this. Okay, I will take questions later, I guess. Thank y'all.
And to add what he said, we're going to reciprocate. We've made a commitment amongst all the judges that when they have a hearing like this, we're going to go to their county and we're going to represent our county for them. We deserve that to him, and anybody wants to go to for them, we'd appreciate it at that time. Also, there's some handouts out there that have your all 38 members of the United States Congress of Texas, your delegation. It has their name and their phone number on it. Pick it up on the way out, call them. Find their email, email them. Good luck, 'cause I called a couple of them today and all I get's a voicemail and nothing but, it just, believe me, it's hard. And you ask them to come to the meetings, oh, we're too busy. Okay, so understand how it is, and please bring their phone off the wall, just like the sheriff said. The next person we have is Nelson Barnes. Mr. Barnes is a Border Prosecution Unit and a project director under the 452nd District Attorney. Mr. Barnes comes with a wealth of knowledge and made these presentations to several other, I think you're next after this. Okay. And then, oh, would that be better for you? Okay. You okay with that? Good deal. All right, then we're going to have the Department of Public Safety, and we're going to go forward with them and their presentation.
Good evening. My name is Chris Olivares. I'm the spokesperson for the South Texas region. So I cover from Del Rio all along the border to Brownsville and then Corpus Christi. So south of San Antonio. So this is not my area, but I've been heavily involved in the current border situation for the past 2 years. So I want to give you an update what we've been doing for the past 2 years as far as DPS with Operation Lone Star. Many of you know that Operation Lone Star was launched back in March of 2021 when Governor Abbott mobilized additional state assets to the border, state troopers, National Guard, and we've been doing it ever since. And of course, most recently with the situation in Brownsville, I'm going to kind of highlight that as well. So I'm going to share some stats, going to go over some updates with you guys, and also what to expect post Title 42. There was a lot of conversations, a lot of, just I guess reactions with Title 42. But keep in mind that the past 2 years, Title 42 was in place, and we were still seeing an unprecedented number of people coming across the border. So Title 42 wasn't really, deporting that many people back. When you have an average of 7,000 to 8,000 people coming across in a single day across the border, that tells you there alone that Title 42 is not a deterrent. Of course, it did help in some cases, and I can tell you during the week of Title 42, there were over 80,000 encounters along the southwest border. And to put that in perspective, that's enough to fill the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So situation could have been much worse, but I'm going to show you exactly what we were able to do as a state with our state troopers, our National Guard, and how we were to stop that and prevent thousands more crossing that border. But again, just keep in mind that what we're experiencing right now, what we've been experiencing for the past 2 years, that was with Title 42 in place. So the mission is very simple, what we've been doing for the past 2 years. We want to focus on the criminal activity. We do have people coming across the border that want to seek asylum. The vast majority do that, women, children, families. But our main goal, our focus is to focus on criminal activity, human smuggling, drug smuggling, stash houses, gathering intelligence, weapons, money, drugs that are coming across the border, fentanyl. Fentanyl is a serious problem that we have right now. And it's not only impacting us here in South Texas, but it impacts the entire country. And I'm going to highlight exactly how much fentanyl we have seized in the state of Texas. So the mission is very simple, to focus on criminal activity. We do provide support for Border Patrol because obviously they're tied up. They're processing thousands of people that are coming across. So they're not able to work the river like they're supposed to focus on criminal activity. That's why we've expanded so many different operations, so many different initiatives, from working highways, from working the brush, from working along the river. We have been so involved with this current border situation right now, and I'm going to highlight that, and you're going to get to see firsthand what we've been doing for the past 2 years. Totally. Yeah. So this is just a map of what we've been covering since Operation Lone Star. So we've started back in, as I mentioned, March 4th of 2021, we started in the Rio Grande Valley. We've expanded all the way to Del Rio, Eagle Pass. Of course, in 2021, we had the situation in Del Rio with the Haitians. That was a big event for us. And of course, we continue to expand all the way to West Texas. So you can see all the various counties that we've been able to cover. The vast majority of activity that we've been seeing over the past 2 years has been in the Rio Grande Valley, also Del Rio, Eagle Pass area. So just to kind of gives you a glimpse of how many counties are involved with Operation Lone Star, what we cover, and also the states that border Texas with Mexico. So just to give you a glimpse of some of the assets we have in place, we have aircraft, we have boats, we have our troopers, we have drones, intel specialists, communication operators. Everyone is involved with this operation. Texas Rangers, investigators. So it's not just troopers, and also working with local law enforcement, with the county, with the sheriffs, with deputies, constables. Everyone is involved in this current border situation because it does impact every single person in here. Some stats. I'm not going to go through every single stat. I'm going to touch on the ones that really are significant to us. Over 28,000 arrests. That's just criminal arrests. Those are people, those are individuals that have been involved in some type of criminal activity, whether it's human smuggling, drug smuggling, anything border related. Over 28,000 criminal arrests just DPS alone. Illegal immigrants, as far as that we've come into contact with, close to 400,000 in the past 2 years that we've come across. That's different for us, because obviously as a state trooper, we don't come into contact with illegal immigrants. But now with the situation, close to 400,000 in the past 2 years. One thing that's pretty significant, the criminal trespass. Close to 7,000 arrests on criminal trespass. So one thing that we started doing last year, especially in Eagle Pass and the Del Rio areas, actually arresting illegal immigrants that are trespassing on private ranches and actually filing state charges. And I believe Brent Smith just talked about that right now, the prosecutor for Kinney County. That's been very effective, because that sends a message that we're not going to just turn them over to Border Patrol. We're actually going to arrest them and take them to jail. And keep in mind, the ones that we're coming across on these ranches, they're not your everyday asylum seekers. They're not children. These are people that are trying to evade capture, trying to get away. So when you hear those numbers or that term gotaways, if it wasn't for our personnel, our troopers, and our National Guard being out there, that's 7,000 more gotaways that we would see right now in this country right now. And we've come across people that have been wanted. Just most recently, there was an individual wanted out of Honduras for murder. He was on a ranch in Kinney County. So again, if it wasn't for having that personnel out there, there's no telling who's coming across your property. And again, we don't know who these individuals are, because again, they're trying to avoid capture. They're trying to circumvent checkpoints, and it can be anybody. If they're trying to get away, they're trying to get away for a reason. So that's why it's very vital having those resources on those ranches to not only protect the ranchers and the property, but protect the surrounding areas as well. Drugs. As I mentioned, fentanyl, over 400 million lethal doses of fentanyl statewide in the state of Texas. That's enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the state of Texas. Well, actually, the entire country, I'm sorry. And that's just DPS. And the way we seize those drugs, it's not, we don't have the luxury to be at a port of entry where we have canines, we have x-ray machines. These are troopers that are working the roads, working the highways, these corridors that are known for drug smuggling, and they're able to seize these drugs off of cars. Over 19 tons of methamphetamine as well. I mean, that's just all just within the state. That's not taken into account with the deputy sees, the local law enforcement, federal resources. So we're not only having to deal with the mass migration, but also having to deal with drugs that are coming across the border as well. Weapons, close to 7,000 weapons that are associated with criminal activity. What we started to see, especially now in Del Rio and Eagle Pass, a lot of these smugglers that are coming in from out of town, they're arming themselves. They have weapons on them. We're seeing a lot of drivers from San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, even out of state. Just most recently, our troopers came across 2 individuals that were wanted for double murder from New Orleans. It was New Orleans, right? Yeah, New Orleans. So these are people that are coming down to the border to smuggle. So it does impact every single person that lives in these surrounding areas. Currency, $45 million of currency, money that's going south into Mexico to supply the Mexican drug cartels. That's one thing that we want to focus on too as well, is take away their profits. Stash houses. Over 290 stash house events, and we've been able to rescue over 3,000 illegal immigrants from those stash houses. These are just some numbers, just Texas related, as far as the number of people that have come into our state illegally. It may be hard to see, but if you look towards the end, 2021 obviously was close to 1.3 million. These are just Texas. This is not the entire country. This is Texas only. 22, we surpassed that last year with close to 1.5 million. This year alone, this fiscal year, we're on track already, close to 400,000 already encounters at the border already. Criminal Trespass Initiative. As I mentioned, this is one thing that we started doing last year. As you can see here, some of the counties that are involved with this initiative, we've been able to put up processing centers. So now we have our own processing center where we can take these individuals, vet them properly, and then, of course, they will face their state charges for criminal trespass. And as I mentioned, close to 7,000 arrests just off of that. And a lot of those individuals, as I mentioned, did have some type of criminal history for either violent crimes, gang members, MS-13. We've come across all those individuals that are on these properties. Also, we want to prevent, deter, and interdict any potential crossings that are coming across the ports of entry. We work with our partners in Mexico. We have plenty of assets, and of course, that's what took place in Brownsville most recently. We were able to place concertina wire along the river, had National Guard, our troopers, and we were able to block some of those crossings from taking place. So we do that. We've done that in Eagle Pass, Del Rio, Laredo, across the border. So kind of gives you a glimpse of what we do and how we work with the Mexican authorities as well. But of course, they don't have all the resources that we do. So at times, they're not able to help or provide that support as we need. But again, we try to do the best we can with what we have. Fencing. Some of you may have known, we've been starting to put up fencing in some of these areas, concertina wire, chain link fencing. Right now, total C-wire, concertina wire, 55 miles and 20 miles of fencing. Majority, of course, is in the Del Rio, Eagle Pass. We do have some in the Rio Grande Valley area. So that's also initiative by National Guard. And that's one thing that worked in Brownsville, and I'll show you that. This is a video here, just a highlight of what actually took place in Brownsville last week. Of course, that's where we saw the majority of people coming across. We were experiencing a daily average of 3,000 people coming across just that area alone. And you'll see how it started and how we were able to stop that flow between the ports of entry. There's some music, so I apologize for that, but you get the, you see that idea there. So National Guard was able to place some concertina wire along the river. We're able to stop some of those crossings from taking place and prevented thousands more that could have potentially crossed there. So we're able to shift them back into Mexico and redirect them to the port of entry. So you just see how effective it is to have barriers. Barriers do work. We have, whether it's a fence, whether it's wire, it does help. It does help redirect some of that activity to other areas where you can have other resources there. Some significant events. I'll just go through these pretty quick. Of course, as I mentioned, stash houses. This happened in El Paso. They were able to identify a stash house. Of course, there's weapons involved. Just some more human smuggling that we've seen. Of course, many of you know, of course, the sheriffs, everybody else that's involved here, you guys experience that every single day. So, and as I mentioned, smugglers, that's been a very profitable business for them. You know, we look at one side, we look at people crossing the river, families and children, but also there's another side to that where you have people that are coming down to smuggle people because it's very profitable. And that's why you see an increase in human smuggling. You see these high-speed chases where it does impact the people in the community, the ranchers, people that have property because they crash into their fences, and it does cost money to fix those. Some more events. This particular event right here in Kinney County, that was an actual smuggler. I believe he was from out of town. I think he was from the Houston area. And actually, one of the illegal immigrants that bailed out of the vehicle actually had two of them had two backpacks with methamphetamine, close to 40 pounds. So they dropped it in a ranch when they bailed out into a ranch, and we're able to find that. So it's not just people that are trying to evade, but also you have drugs that are also involved with that as well. Right here, another individual here, another smuggler from Valverde. She admitted to getting paid, close to $12,000 to transport people. So that's why you see it's a very profitable business for people to come down here and smuggle. And that's why we see that increased activity. Up there in your top, the upper right corner, that's why I mentioned earlier about the two individuals that were wanted for murder. One of the troopers stopped that vehicle. They were smuggling people. And the guy, well, you probably can't tell, but on your right side, he's a Bloods gang member. He was wanted for murder, double murder, and then 2 counts of attempted murder as well. This is the last little video here. There probably won't be any music, but just kind of gives you a glimpse, some highlights of the work that our troopers have been doing, working with just everyone involved in this operation for the past 2 years and how we're moving forward. So the music's not playing, but just kind of gives you an idea of the different initiatives that we've been doing, working along the river, working on the highways, especially in West Texas, working in that terrain, the mountainous terrain out there, seizing drugs, apprehending smugglers, Chinese nationals. We've seen a big thing in Chinese nationals as well coming across.
Whoa. Yeah.
So that's just like I said, quick update. So what do we look forward to now? Post Title 42, I can tell you the numbers have slightly declined. I think we're now, the last numbers that I saw, we're averaging anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 encounters a day. That's still a high number. But keep in mind too, we have to focus on the criminal activity, the smugglers that are impacting the communities, as well as the ranchers, everyone involved. So I have to commend not only our personnel, but everyone else that's been involved with this operation, that's been working together, the sheriffs, county judges, prosecutors, local law enforcement, everybody involved. It's not just DPS, not just National Guard, it's everybody working together. The support from the community as well. We appreciate your support as well. And voice your concerns, because it's very important that if you don't voice your concerns, nothing's going to get done. We're doing as much as we can with what we have. We have a lot of support, from the governor all the way down. That's what helps us. That's what helps us, as far as moving forward. So, I want to thank you for your time. If you have questions, I'll be here, and we have some personnel that can answer any questions as well. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
If y'all haven't seen this lieutenant before, turn on Fox News. He's on there quite regularly. And he's along with many other stations. He gets interviewed all the time, and he's truly an honor to have him here to make the presentation for DPS. And we want to thank DPS for everything they're doing. These guys, next time you get a speeding ticket, don't get mad at them. Just believe me, I'm the first one to tell you that. But these guys, they bust their butt for us. They really do. They didn't sign up to be Border Patrol agents. They didn't sign up for this, but they're out there helping us, and they're doing the right thing. And we truly appreciate you, gentlemen, very much. Next is Mr. Nelson Barnes. We're going to let him come forward. This guy's a wealth of knowledge. I've heard of most of these judges that have dealt with him before. I think he'll be able to give you some good information. You'll be able to see what he's dealing with, he's dealt with in the past, and what he can help us with in the future and some of the information. Mr. Barnes?
Can y'all hear me? We are a confederation that is we're a trusted program in the Department of Public Safety. We exist by statute. We is part with a grant funded organization. We give it.
Hey, you're gonna have to go to the mic and we can't hear you.
Oh, I can imagine this.
Well, that's good to know. All right. Wow. Now, hopefully, Kim will come tell me if she can't hear me. But BPU is a confederation. Right. Now I'll sing. And y'all will all go home. All right. The BPU is a confederation of district attorneys. Your district attorney, Audrey Lewis, who is here, is a member of BPU. And got a BPU prosecutor here. Lamb. All right. Not someone you want to meet professionally, except as jury duty. Okay. But they work together to solve border issues. We exist in 51 counties. We have a few organizations called Texas Anti-Gang Centers that are not directly on the border. We have one in Tyler because we're worried about the Louisiana border. One in Dallas because of Oklahoma. That's where Operation Lone Star is going next. Okay. So, and then 3.0, we're going to worry about California coming. We're going to try and stop that. But in all seriousness, it's an organization, and I'm assigned through that via grant, and my title is the Project Director for Operation Lone Star. That means I liaison between the local prosecutors, who sometimes I come help them for added support. Sometimes I liaison with the DPS, Captain Betancourt that's here. He and I are basically on speed dial, right? I think I talked to him more than I talked to my last girlfriend. The folks that we just try to help with everything. I wanted to give you all a little bit of quick background, if you'll bear with me, because Chris talked about these processing centers and stuff. I'd like to give folks a little bit more detail about how that works, because as everybody has talked about today, the huge resource suck that these things have caused on the state, or particularly have been harmful when they have gone into these counties. And we want to prosecute these folks because they're breaking the law. We're not prosecuting them because they're not breaking the law. We're prosecuting them because they're breaking the law. They're trespassing. They're committing smuggling. They're committing aggravated assault. They're committing murders. Okay? In Edwards County, in the jurisdiction I'm sworn in, okay, we've got 2 pending cases where a smuggler fleeing from the police killed one of the people in the car. Okay? And so those cases are all pending, but the resource drain that has put on the counties, because you hear, we use Kenny because that's where we started. Okay? 5,000 cases. You say, okay, great, 5,000 misdemeanors. Their average caseload prior to the start of the criminal trespass initiative was about 6 to 8 misdemeanors a month. All right, so someone in the clerk's office who was used to handling about 1.5 cases a week, all of a sudden was handling 150 a week. Now take that to your business and multiply anything you do by 80. If you're running cattle, multiply your herd by 80 and add no people to help you. So part of that is what this organization and the governor's support has come, is to try and build that up. When I got hired, I thought I was going to be helping prosecutors. I found out I had to learn about being a clerk. I've had to learn about being a court reporter, about interpreters, all this stuff, because we've had to put all that together. And what happens when we have these criminal trespasses is we have 2 processing centers. We use that fancy term, processing center. It's a booking desk for a county jail. Only it can hold 91 people at a time. One's in Del Rio and one is in Hebronville. As Captain Betancourt likes me to refer to it as Jerusalem. You want to guess where he's from? But those have become booking desks to not put that burden on your local county jail and your local sheriff's office, so those criminals get booked through there, just like we would any other criminal coming to jail. Then the governor's office took 2 prison units. One is in Dilley, the Briscoe unit, and one is in Edinburgh, the Segovia unit, and we converted them to county jails. And I'll go out to my car and get a limited edition BPU patch if someone here who is not in law enforcement can tell me what the difference is between a prison unit and a county jail that we had to do to convert them.
I don't know law enforcement. That's
correct.
The state penitentiary does not be air conditioned.
Bingo. We spent a lot of money and gave them air conditioning. Okay? But we don't give them bottled water, which is the one biggest complaint we've had in Segovia, because we just have big igloo coolers with the little paper cups that you push and get the water. Apparently that's not sufficient to these guys who've been arrested. That's the only complaint the wardens told me that they've had, has been, we're supposed to get bottled water. They don't do that in any offices I work in. We don't get bottled water, so, all right. But that has taken off some of the burden on the county because these numbers are too big. A judge, y'all have got 6 cells? 6 cells. So where would they put these 5,000 people? You know, so we're housing these people at Segovia. And then about half of them make bond. They're entitled to the same rights everyone else has. They're given the opportunity for bond. Biggest hunk of it, at least in Kenny County, was in cash. Everything from $500 up to, what's the biggest, Brent, that they made cash? $3,500? $5,000? And so people on their relatives raise the money. They get out of jail. When they get released, they're turned over to ICE or Border Patrol. We don't know if they're removed from the country. We know some of them are removed from the country because they've come to court from a foreign country on Zoom. but some of the others are not. They come from, we don't know if they're released in the country because when we try to find out, their lawyers claim that it is privileged information. And we haven't got to force them to tell us yet. But that's part of how this process works. And I'd like y'all folks to know what they're doing with this. We started in Valverde County. It moved to Kinney County where it really got flowing. We then went to Jim Hall County. We then came to Maverick County, then to Uvalde, and then Webb and Zapata. So those are all the counties. There's talk of expansion of the program, but that's where all the criminal trespass is working. The biggest issue we have is something I know you've seen here is smuggling. If you're not getting a ton of trespassers, is a smuggling problem. My last number that I've heard is DPS. These are not local sheriff's office. Has arrested almost 9,000 people for smuggling. Since not quite 2 years ago. So that's part of what we're really looking at too from the numbers. That eats your court system alive. Because you want other cases to go to court too besides smugglers. You want people who've had drugs in your county. You want people who are hurting people in your county. All that eats the court system resources quite a bit. And so our program through BPU seeks to add assistance to that, as well as we go to the governor's office and say, hey, we need money, because it takes resources to do this. And it's your resources. And we'd rather spend your resources on something else, but we can't just let the criminals walk around. So that's part of what we do as well. And so we've had landowner meetings with folks like this from Sanderson, Texas, all the way to Jim Hall, and have worked from here to there. And our organization operates from Brownsville to El Paso. So, but we've got any questions anybody might have. Well, tell you where we come from. But the DPS folks, I can't say enough about how much they really are the boots on the ground and make this work. With limited resource, and that's what we're talking. And one of the things about the CT, we have brush teams that go out and operate like the judge was talking about. But there's only so many of them because when we talk about what can people do, get people to go into law enforcement. We don't have enough bodies. So I'll pass off. But if anybody's got questions, I'm here too. And I'm here for whatever questions you've got to ask about what you can or can't do on your property and all that stuff. Oh, and one thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, the folks over there out here, y'all, last week, I heard this at the Capitol this morning, last week, for the first time in years, we had more people in Dallas and Houston than off of Texas.
Thank you very much, and we'll get to the question and answers here in a few minutes. But one of the things that I want to express, let me tell you what, DPS pilots. We got DPS helicopter pilots here. They came in today. We want to appreciate everything y'all are for. I mean, all across the board, you guys, you assist in so many ways in so many organizations. We truly appreciate it. You can't thank your law enforcement enough. We're blessed to have a great sheriff's office. We're blessed to have great DPS, great constables. We are very fortunate. We're great. We could not have a better county. And I'm going to give you a prime example. Judge Hedke in Karnes County, he doesn't have the same problems as Judge Martinez does in LaSalle County, but he's here. He's here because he cares. And we decided up there in Lubbock that we're going to care. We're going to do something to do all we can to get the point across to the state and feds. It's a big issue. So what we did is we put together a resolution. And this resolution basically says, and I'm going to read it to y'all, it won't take that long, but it's important that we get the message that we're together and we get it to the state. And hopefully the state gets it to the feds and the feds pay attention. But it's real critical. This is a resolution calling for additional measures to secure the border and stop the invasion at the border and protect our communities. Whereas the preamble of the Constitution of the United States outlines the chief responsibility of the federal government to ensure domestic tranquility and provide the common defense. And whereas Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution provides the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government. That doesn't mean be the Republican, but a Republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion. And whereas Article 4, Section 7 of the Constitution provides the governor of Texas legal authority as commander-in-chief of the military forces of this state, and he shall have the power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the state, to suppress insurrections, and to repeal invasions. And whereas cartels exploit weak and unsecure borders for their own power and profit, and to the detriment of our communities, and whereas cartels act as primarily narco-terroristic organizations that profit from trafficking people and drugs in the United States, and whereas Governor Greg Abbott, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas National Guard are using legal authority vested by the Texas Constitution to secure the border, stop the smuggling of drugs, weapons, and cartel trafficking people into Texas, and prevent, detect, and interdict transnationally criminal activity between ports and entry. And whereas since this launch of Operation Lone Star on March the 4th, 2021, the multi-agency effort has led to more than 376,000 apprehensions and more than 28,000 criminal arrests, with more than 25,000 felony charges that are reported. The DPS counter-drug welfare operations have seized more than 86 million lethal doses of fentanyl. That's enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States. And whereas the ongoing border security crisis is not acceptable and has resulted in the security threat and humanitarian disaster with overwhelming consequences to the residents of the state of Texas, and whereas numerous Texas border counties experience local disaster situations as a result of inadequate border security, have passed declarations and resolutions calling for further action and security on the southern Texas border, and whereas Atascosa, Wilson, Karnes, Frio, LaSalle, Dimmitt, Medina, Kinney, McMullen, and Live Oak County and their representatives thereof have formed a consortium to promote the common goal of safety, security, and well-being of their residents. These 10 counties have recognized how vital the safety of our residents are and the visitors to maintain a free and prosperous society, and have come together to support the security measures at our southern border. Now therefore be resolved that the 10-county consortium will unite to support each other and stop the ongoing crisis by all legal means, and furthermore work with Governor Greg Abbott, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas National Guard, and the law enforcement agencies within this 10-county region to protect and defend the state of Texas from the detrimental effects of the border crisis, and will work within the consortium to provide support in repealing the Declaration of Invasion of those who relentlessly go to great lengths to circumvent the laws of the United States of America.
Your
And I
Honor.
ask that this Commissioner's Court pass this resolution.
Your Honor, I move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Gillespie. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. I hope that we can get each and every one of these 10 counties and other counties around it that want to join this, and we end up getting hopefully all 254 counties that would go with us and try to get this thing and help the rest of the state of Texas. It's critical to this. But now that we've passed that, we will get cleaning copies to y'all all, so hopefully you can pass yours and we can reciprocate. And again, we want to thank y'all for that and move forward. It's a true honor. These guys are sticking their neck out every day politically and mentally and to represent their counties. The next thing we have, make sure I'm right on all this. I guess we're going to go to questions and answers. Okay? If you have a question for any of the people that have spoke, please come to the microphone. Let's see, we're going to get this up there. Please come to the microphone and ask the question and who you care to direct it to, if anybody in particular.
Hello, Sean O'Brien from Karnes County. I'm not here representing Karnes County, but I'm here to just help give support as a fellow citizen and a fellow patriot. My Judge Headkey over there, we're very proud of him and everything he's done for our county. I'm a former county commissioner myself. There's quite a few people here from Karnes County, and
it's an honor.
We're all patriots in this room. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. And one thing that you need to understand is that as much as we appreciate law enforcement, and the judicial system that they're trying to protect us, you have to understand something. They're only able to take and arrest or detain maybe 1 out of 10, if you're lucky. So all these numbers we're talking about, multiply that by 10 or 100, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that these guys are overwhelmed. They're totally overwhelmed, and they're bound to be overwhelmed even more. So as citizens and as patriots, we all have a duty to be prepared. And we have a duty to support each other and back each other up. As patriots and citizens of not only our counties, but of the United States of America, I know there's probably a lot of veterans in this group. We all took that oath. There's no expiration date on that oath. We're here to support and defend our country and our Constitution. I'm one of them. There's a bunch more. You need to get organized. Get together with your local law enforcement, get together with your sheriff's department, get organized. Because you know what? They can't do it all. And there may become a day real soon where you dial 911 and nobody's going to be able to show up. DPS will be overwhelmed. Sheriff's department will be overwhelmed. Local police departments will be overwhelmed. You're going to have to take it upon yourselves to get organized. We're doing it in Karnes County. If you need help with it, give us a call. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions for any of the panel? Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone. And one of the things before he gets up there that's troubling to me, I don't see a lot of younger people here. That scares me. These younger people don't realize how we're facing these situations, and we need to inform them. We need to educate them. We need to tell them how important it is for your rights. Sir, please.
My wife says I'm a kid. She's always.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denny San Miguel. I'm a recent resident of Pleasanton. I just moved here. A question that I have to ask is, did you have all of these border problems prior to President Trump passing Title 42? Was it as big a problem as it is now that it's expiring?
I mean, I'd refer to one of those to answer because I'm not.
Anybody? I don't have anybody in particular I'm addressing it to.
Yeah, we got to get it.
The one thing I can speak of from what I have learned doing this historically outside of the Title 42 issue is that the change in administration showed a huge change in what happened along the border. And I think all these folks who live along the border have seen that and know that and can say that for something changed when they changed Border Patrol policy when the administration changed. And then the numbers started to increase. Now, whether I can't say that's because of Title 42 or that's some other internal policy that we're not aware of. You know, Border Patrol is kind of a silent we coordinate with, but I'm no expert on federal immigration. I just know enough to be dangerous. But I do know that all the historical numbers that we have seen from all the folks I've worked with since I've been in this program are something changed when that changed. Whether it's an internal Border Patrol policy, I can't say it's not some event happened in another country that, that this is a bigger formula than just that. But we do know that something changed at that time a couple years ago. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say, from me, talking from what I've heard, all I can say is that every one of you are doing an outstanding job in what you have to do. I understand, well, what you all are going through. In my past, I was civil service. I worked 36 years in Intel and in crypto and working with the government and doing and setting up all kinds of stuff to help stop a lot of this, and not to mention a lot of the world stuff that's going on. But once again, I can't thank every one of you enough for everything that you've done, and it's not going unheard. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you for choosing Atascosa County. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am, please come forward. And please speak into the microphone so we can get the message across the other room. And
Hi, I'm Dr. Wendy Knox. I know a lot of you. I'm the regional director for foster care here in many of these counties. I want to know, last time that this happened, we had a big problem in this area with children who came across without any people to help them. There's a word for that. And we didn't have enough places to put them and enough resources to take care of them. So are the county judges preparing that as we see these people building up at the border, what are we going to do with all the children? And how does that impact the foster children we already have that we're trying to take care of?
thank you. I can't answer that question. I'm not the one to ask. I mean, Judge Schuster? Never lost for words.
For us, the minor children is null and void. Most all ours are 17 to 35-year-old males, very, very few females. The children in our county is very minimal. Those are mostly the right on the border, right? Those immigration, those cities that have ports of entry and stuff, they seem to have a lot more children than do. For our county, and county attorney can attest to it, we have very, 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 I mean, like none. So that's what concerns me a lot is the foot traffic and the trespassers and the smugglers that we have, the aliens that are coming in via the smuggling on the vehicles and stuff. They're all going to be your 20 to 40-year-old men. So children are we have no issue with that for right now for us, knock on wood.
It's just something I want to point out. Last time we had a big problem, nowhere to put these kids, so we might want to have a plan for it.
Okay, we'll work on developing a plan for that if we shoot that across. Anybody else? Mr. Moore.
How you doing, Judge? My name's Ross Moore, and my question, first of all, I commend all of you gentlemen and ladies and your wives and spouses. I have a godson that's a highway patrolman. He's down there right now, and it's hell on the family, and I get that. And my hat is off to all of you. Thank you for that. As a property owner, when these smugglers and people are coming through our properties, what are we allowed to do? I mean, you know, we sit here and I know what you guys are doing, but what the hell do we do?
Great question. That's one of the deals that y'all.
I don't know who won the pool, but usually there's a pool about how long we get in till someone will ask. All right. There are laws in the state of Texas that bite you, bite me, bite all of us in regards to what you can do to defend yourself and defend your property. All right. I like to talk about what I tell people when I have done jury selection about self-defense cases. That law of self-defense applies to every one of us. That is the law of the state of Texas. I don't speak for your local district attorney. I speak in general to explain what I feel that the law says. If you fear for the safety of yourself or others against the unlawful use of deadly force, you are allowed to use deadly force in the state of Texas. That means, and I like to shortchange that in one way, if you ever are in a situation where you have a gun and you think you're going to have to shoot someone, if you have to think, should I shoot someone? That answer is always no. Because you won't have the time to think, should I, when you have to do it. I have said that for a long time. It makes sense to me. I believe the law supports that. Because you won't be able to think, should I? You'll be forced to. We say a lot of time in this business, we all talk like, man, I can't wait, I'll take somebody. It sounds big. You don't want to shoot somebody if you don't have to. I mean, you don't. You're forced into that. But that doesn't mean we're not a state that supports your ability to do that, and the law supports that. But you have a reasonable person has to legitimately fear for the safety of themselves or others. You cannot booby trap your property in Texas. I know that sounds cool, okay? I spent a lot of my summers in what was called the Make Yourself Aware of Life program just south of Floresville, where my grandparents lived, where I learned the joys of digging post holes and stretching wire. But probably pushed me more to law school than anything else. But I understand the closest we have to our property, and when we were talking earlier about trying to get this word out to people, that's one of the things we have the hardest time explaining to like these out-of-town lawyers that come in about, well, what's the big deal? These folks just walk across your, 5,000 acres. What's the big deal? That's your backyard.
Yes,
and
sir.
so, and I explained to them, well, how would you feel if every Friday night all the high school kids came over and illegally drank beer in your backyard every single Friday and left their trash and relieved themselves? That's what this is. Some of them get that, but you have to put it in those terms because they don't quite get it. But your rights to defend yourself under the law are as if you fear for the safety of yourself or others. One of the things that we saw recently, I won't mention any names where it came from, where people were building spikes to put along their fence line. There is a law in Texas that says you cannot do that. Okay? I don't want to make criminals about anybody who's trying to protect their property, but the law says you can't build tire deflation devices and put them along the bottom of your fence line. Like the law or not, it is what the law is, right? So we discourage that because it is, I don't want to make a felon out of good people. There's plenty of bad people that are felons already. But if someone came, and we get this question a lot, particularly in like Kenny, where they've got so many walkers. We've got people who they've come up to their house at 3 o'clock in the morning and started knocking on the windows, group of 20 or 25. And that gentleman said, could I go outside and start shooting them? And I said, well, you're safer in that house than you're ever going to be outside with them, because it only takes one of them to get past. You might shoot 3 or 4, but if the one gets you, you're going to lose. So, and not to mention, that really isn't that you're definitely, now they start coming in your house, I think we changed the equation, and y'all people could realize that. But the best thing you can do is one of the things I always tell people to do, and always about crime from the big city to the country, is make yourself a hard target. Make it look like that's not the place they want to be. If you can, put up signs that say, look, I'm here and I'm armed and I'm ready for you. Because if I've got to choose between going through your gate that has that on it and the gate that doesn't, where am I going to choose? It doesn't sound like much, but all you got to get into one head, one mindset. Talk to your neighbors. Get as much as you can as phone trees and stuff like that, where you can text each other, talk to each other and say, hey, I saw something funny. Did you see something funny? Then you're in that word. But become a hard target. Make yourself look like don't want to mess with me.
Is it true that, I mean, when we get like in Atascosa County, we're away from it. I mean, we're not dealing with what the borders are. But is it safe to assume that if you've got people walking across your property, that we're talking, these are the bad folks, these are the smugglers, these are the immigration asylum seekers, they're not, I mean, the families and stuff,
Yes, sir. You've hit it on the head, what we say in this business, particularly when they start arguing about when we arrest these people and they say, well, they're just looking for asylum. No, they're not. They were looking for asylum. They got to the first road they got to and turned and said, here I am, take me. DPS picks people up in Eagle Pass every day and says, hey, you want to sign this piece of paper and we'll give you a bus ride down to the port of entry. And they sit and wait for the bus.
Right.
Okay. The people who we think are trespassing are people who don't want to be on the books. They're either they have come across before and been sent back and they're scared about federal prosecution for coming back, because some of those folks do get prosecuted, or they want to do something nefarious. I think that is a fair assumption that we've all kind of worked from, that these people are walking. My thing, don't engage them if they don't. If you see them walking, call law enforcement. Now, I know there may be some time. get yourself to a safe place, and then if you have to defend yourself because they keep coming, defend yourself. But don't go out looking to engage them. Let the professionals do it. That's what we tell folks in every walk of life. You know, you hear on TV, this person may be armed and dangerous. Don't go find them, okay? And so that's one of the things is if they come at you, you don't have a choice, but I wouldn't go at them. I'd call.
One last deal,
Yes, sir.
just to verify, but like myself, I rent my property out, okay, out in McCoy. My renters have the same rights as I do, being
Yes,
they
sir.
live there. It is their domain. That's where they live. They have the rights to.
Yes, sir. We have a very easy to understand policy in Texas. It's called greater right of possession. You know, when somebody comes in and robs the bank, it's not the teller's money, but the teller becomes our victim of the robbery, even though it wasn't. They had a greater right of possession to that money by their permission. Your renter takes the place of you. They have a greater right of possession. If you have a foreman or hired help on your ranch, they can be the person who controls your ranch. They can tell people they can't come there. So, yes, sir, you are
Thank
correct
you.
in that.
Again, thank all of you very much.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to echo the sentiments of thank you for what you're all doing. Judge Schuster, know the county well, know you well, and we lived in that area, so I know what I don't know what you're going through, but I empathize with you for what you're going through. My question is several parts, and I'll try to keep it short, but we lived in that area as part of the Air Force community in Valverde County and in Kinney County. And I don't know as a lot of people understand the implications that just the border crisis has on national security issues. I hire civilian pilots for the Air Force to train at Laughlin Air Force Base. We're at 54% manned in that community right now because nobody wants to move there to work for the Air Force. So if that will help you make a case with the agencies that you're dealing with, it's a national security level on more than one aspect in the military as well. During the election cycle last time, we organized, there was a huge rally of trucks that drove all across this county. It was amazing. When you all present your resolution, will you help us organize to follow you in a big old caravan to Austin to present that with you? I think within each of your counties, if you were able to organize that truck rally or whatever you want to call it, but a rally that heads to Austin to support you in reading that, I think we would all get behind you.
Numbers mean a lot. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can get all judges at one time. We deliver this to the governor's office. That's what we're hoping for.
And we would love to be there for you too.
Appreciate that.
And I will only end with this. The Second Amendment has a little preamble that a lot of people don't remember, and it's a well-regulated militia being necessary for the defense of our nation, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right?
Yes, sir.
What prevents the governor of the state of Texas from creating a well-regulated militia that serves just like a jury duty pool, 2 days a month or 2 weeks a year, and we all become deputized to help you defend our state and our country? I mean, that's what we're here for.
To effect, we have that. That's Texas State Guard. And they're looking for people every day.
Right.
Is with the Texas State Guard. That's our militia, and it's
Right.
Texas. It's through the military department.
But I know
So-
that some counties have actually deputized personnel. Is that not applicable? Is that not the case? Because the National Guard comes with a whole lot more restrictions because you can be federalized. And that takes the control away from the state. I'm asking about the militia.
But you've got two different animals. You've got the National Guard and you've got the Texas State Guard. Two different entities.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And they run different and they operate different.
Okay.
And so the State Guard is a whole different animal than National Guard.
Can you all provide awareness to your citizens in your counties on how to become a member of that state guard? Because I didn't even know it existed.
You just push a Google real quick for Texas State Guard and they're going to tell you exactly how they'd like to talk to you.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all.
Any other questions? Anybody want to ask any? Yes, sir. Please come forward. Yes, sir.
Hey, well, I want to thank y'all and thank y'all all for coming. Hopefully we come out and protest some appraisal on property taxes soon, but I'm just joking. I'm not joking. So I heard, it was very informative, everything that was presented. And I want to look at it as, it seems that we're outmanned. They got way more, I'm talking about the drug dealers, the cartels. They have way more resources than we can ever pump in. As some of these gentlemen said, it seems like we can put more resources into it, but we don't know how many resources we're going to need. It could be 10 times what was being reported or 100 times. It seems the root cause is there's a huge drug addiction crisis in America, and that's what's really funding these cartels. Have we looked about tackling the root cause? Because it seems like we can throw money at the issue all day, but what's the result if we're outmanned and outgunned like that?
Lieutenant, you want to address that? That's a good question. So, of course, we know that's, drugs has always been a problem, not just right now, but of course, what we're seeing now is fentanyl, and we're seeing more drugs being smuggled across because when the cartels realize that essentially we have an open border, they're going to take full advantage of that. And they're going to be able to smuggle more drugs across, produce more drugs. And that's why we see, so many more drugs coming across. One thing that the governor did mention, though, he did declare the drug cartels as terrorists. Now, of course, at the state level, there's only so much we can do, and we've been doing it for the past 2 years, right? This does require a federal response, and yet the federal government refuses to designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. If they did that, they would have more authority. Of course, they have a lot more authority than we do as a state to go after these organizations. But that's just only one part of it, right? There's still another part of it to where how do we provide help to those that are, like you mentioned, drug addiction, right? There is programs out there. I know here in Texas we have programs. The governor has mentioned it as well. But that's always going to be a problem, and it's kind of hard to how do we tackle that? It's not just what we can do as a state or what the sheriffs are doing, what everybody else is doing. It requires a federal response. There's something that needs to be done at the federal level, and I think if it is done that way, then we can actually make some serious progress. But until then, we're going to do as much as we can within our authority as a state to try to stop some of the drugs that are coming across and provide whatever help we can to those that are in need of it.
Oh, thank you. I got one more question. It seems if we can, have we thought about pushing legalizing marijuana or something? That would hurt their pockets and help some of our farmers. I mean, it's a cash crop. I mean, Colorado pays for their whole school system with that. I believe. I could be wrong, but that's just me.
Get a hold of your state senator and your state representative. It's beyond our level. If you want to do that, you need to go beyond our level for that.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
For listening, and thank you for your work.
Yes, sir. Any other? Yes, ma'am, please. Yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all. Where are all these people living? How are they living? Where are they getting money? Where they been put? They're shipping them all over the place, but where are they living?
Ma'am, I can't answer that question. Maybe they can.
Under the bridge?
I can tell
Where
you
they get money to live?
Look at the process.
Yeah, like where do they get money to live? I mean, we got to work paycheck to paycheck, and
A huge of support for them is the NGOs. The NGOs supply a lot of money to the illegals and stuff as they come into the country. Speak up. All right, the NGOs are a huge problem for us. The Catholic Church organization, millions of dollars into this deal. The government pays them, gives them money, the NGOs, to help provide for these folks. That's why they can kick veterans out of a hotel in New York and put
what do we
illegals.
do? What do we do? Not go to church? Not give them a money?
No. I mean, I think you just emphasize, hey, we want our local contributions to stay local. When they pass that offering plate around for a national deal or a worldwide deal, just keep passing it. And make it very clear to the deacons of your church or the knights of the church or whatever, wherever you may go, and say, we want this to stay local. If it doesn't, we'll still come here and praise and believe in God.
Yeah, I believe in God, but I'm just like, we're paycheck to
Yes,
paycheck,
ma'am.
and these people walking over in nice shoes, a freaking phone in their hand, and flying all over the place.
Yes.
So I just wonder, what do we do besides saying to keep it local?
Vote. Vote clean the swamp.
I'd also add a lot of ways it happens is an indentured servitude. They'll get shipped to somewhere like Houston and they'll work at a sweatshop somewhere like that, and they work for their meals every day. They work for their rent every day. So they pay the cartels. It's an ongoing process. And to the other gentleman, there's two products that cartels move: drugs and humans. Humans are actually paying more to the cartels than the drugs are because they continually pay over the years. The drugs are consumed, and that's it. So the human trafficking part of this actually makes more money for the cartels than the drugs do.
We've been here an hour and a half, and the main thing was to get the point across to tell you that we're doing everything we can. These counties have come together. We're working hard. I want to, in closing, I got a little housekeeping. I want to make sure everybody knows that contact your representative, your state rep. Call me. I don't care. I'll give you, if you don't pick up the flyer, we'll get you their number, their email. But call them. Call your state representative. Call your United States Senator. Call Henry Cuellar's office or whoever your congressman is and let them know. They need to know. But in closing, truly, Senator Flores went out of his way to have people here. We've asked everybody on the list. United States Senator John Cornyn, we get more out of his office than we ever get out of Senator Cruz. I'm going to tell you that right now. We're very blessed. We get answers. We get questions answered. You may not like the politics of it, but we get things done out of that office. We get stuff out of Representative King. I can call and I can get a hold of them, and I think every one of y'all have had pretty good luck with them. Is that correct? Yeah, I believe so. And the last thing is we put this thing together in 1 week. I want to compliment my staff. I tell you what, could not have been done without we are truly blessed. Yes, sir. Hey, Ross.
Where can we find this meeting on YouTube at? Where do we start to get this?
Craig?
Go to the Atascosa County website.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, you'll see home and you'll see live stream. Live stream, where you find it.
Thank you.
And again, we want to thank everybody. They worked tirelessly for the last week to put this together. We've been on the phone. All the judges and I have talked several times to come up with ideas and plans and line up the speakers. DPS went above and beyond. Our sheriff's department they need to know that they have the support of them and the support of their commissioner's court. It's very important to know that. And the press. Thank you, Pleasant Express. Thank you, KSAQ Radio. These guys went above and beyond to get it out to everybody and let them know that we're doing this. Facebook shares, thank you. Truly amazing how far it got around, and I'm happy with the crowd. I'm hoping that we do this again. We are, Judge Martinez, correct? We're going to do this next Thursday in LaSalle County, correct? And then other counties after that hopefully follow, and we'll go from there. If you don't have anything else, commissioners, y'all have anything else?
No,
Okay, spread the word. Next Thursday in LaSalle County, let's give them the same opportunity we had here. We're adjourned, gentlemen. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sure, absolutely.